everybody. It's Winter with the Shift Spotlight. And today we are excited to bring Reuben Brennan. He is the CEO of PeoplePartners and can be found at peoplepartnersbpo.com. Welcome to the show, Reuben.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you, Winter. It's stoked to be here. Very excited.
Yeah, your name and lights is the introduction. Okay, so before we get started in talking about what you do and how you do it, tell us an interesting fact about you that people may not know.
Great question. In terms of, I have let the cat out of the bag a couple of times on LinkedIn, but one of my absolute hobbies and passions is kite surfing. I absolutely love it to bits. And so take the chance wherever I can, even if I'm traveling, to go kite surfing. So even in just the last few months, I've been kite surfing in Dubai, Australia,
Wow.
in South Africa. So destinations, it's a great sport. Absolutely love it to bits.
Is it dangerous to like you catch the wrong wind and phew, you're gone?
Yeah, there's certainly some techniques and some safety aspects to it, but it's just a really exhilarating sport, and yeah, just love it.
I love that. Okay, well, all right. So why don't you tell us at a high level what it is that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I suppose we really help on the people and profit piece.
Hmm.
So specifically through workforce reengineering and offshore staffing. So what we do is we dive into accountability charts to investigate how responsibilities and tasks are flowing through the organization, and we're looking for gaps, holes, inefficiency, or where high value resources are doing $6 an hour tasks, which I
Mm,
suppose in EOS talk is that delegate and elevate opportunity.
yeah.
So that ultimately culminates in us producing a pretty comprehensive report for clients, which is stacked of recommendations.
Okay.
And that can help produce some pretty tremendous value, both in efficiency and general workforce cohesion and happiness.
Right.
But obviously, via that workforce reengineering and those $6 an hour tasks we identify and the gaps and holes, we can find an opportunity to normally plug in some offshore staffing, and that can really help produce an exponential impact because we've got offices in South Africa and the Philippines. And obviously over there, labor rates are a bit different,
Yeah.
normally up to about 80% cheaper.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we don't have a bench of talent. We help clients recruit the exact talent they need. So we look to match the background, the experience, the skill set, the qualifications, the values, right through to the specific tech stack and software that they might need in their roles. And
Right.
we're really committed to making sure it's a really great fit. So not just putting anyone in the role. So and
Right.
then once we've got them that amazing human onboarded, we support both the client and the staff to make sure it's a really healthy, productive relationship. We look after payroll, time and attendance, activity monitoring, the IT, the cybersecurity. So we look after all those mechanics
Yeah.
so that the relationship's just freed up to really focus on the big picture. So the vision, the goals, the rocks, and everything else going on in the business. That's
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah, high level of what we
So
get up to.
perfect. I mean, so what inspired you to start this type of business?
I wish it was inspired, Winter. It
are,
was
are
a
you
business.
are you a what do they call them? An accidentalpreneur?
Well, not an accidental entrepreneur, but an accidental founder of People Partners. So I've been entrepreneurial for probably 20 odd years, operating businesses. But the origins of People Partners weren't some great take on the world and looking at what would be the most amazing strategies. We were scratching our own itch. So back in 2014, my co-founder and I were running a training organization, and we were
Hmm.
subject to some government funding to help prosecute and deliver training. We had about 2,500 students, 72 staff, three-story office, 30 odd fleet cars. Business was going great. And then
Yeah.
we got this newsletter, which basically inadvertently announced that our funding was being slashed by 70%. And so pretty much overnight, our business fell off a cliff and we were facing sort of pretty imminent demise. And so we came up with this insane plan, Winter, and that was to relocate our head office. So at that stage, our head office was in Brisbane, in Australia, and we
Mhm.
decided to move that office to Manila in the Philippines.
Mm.
And within the space of 13 weeks, we had, initially we'd thought about it and go, okay, well, what roles can we move offshore? We thought there might be 4, there might be 5. But then when we dived in and we thought, okay, rather than thinking in absolutes, what if we moved 10% of that role, 20% of that role, 80% of that role? How could we re-engineer our workforce? And so I flew to the Philippines. I incorporated a company. I bought real estate. I moved my family, my wife and 2 kids over there. And from getting that newsletter to starting 35 new staff in that office was 13 weeks. So it was the most insane 13
Wow.
weeks of my life.
Yeah.
And that ensued a few pretty tough months as well, as we were taking these 35 people, sticking them into roles that had never existed before, teaching them cultural training, training on the industry, all manner of crazy stuff. But then a handful of months later, in June that following year, we had our most profitable month ever.
Mm.
And that's what was really the penny drop moment, because we were doing that under 70% less revenue, but because we'd dropped our expenses by just over $2 million, we'd actually managed to be more profitable. And so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
gave rise to a lot of reflection, but ultimately, hey, we want to help others. We want
Yeah.
to help others not go through that pain and craziness that we had to try and enjoy those benefits.
Yeah. So amazing. I love that the concept of, you took some lemons and made some lemonade, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly
figured
right.
another way out. And see, a lot of entrepreneurs, they hit that thing, that bump, that whatever it is, and they can't get past it.
Yeah.
And you actually not only got past it, but you created an entire business model out of it. So kudos to you
Yeah. And I think when
there.
you're in the weeds, like I still have vivid memories of getting that news and being in my office and thinking, oh my goodness, the sky's falling, the world's over. What am I going to tell my kids? How am I going
Right.
to pay the mortgage? You have those dark, dark days.
Yeah.
But there's when the will and the resolve is there to claw your way out. Yeah, absolutely. Lemonade from lemons. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many employees do you have at People Partners itself? Not the contractors that you're working with, but just on hand
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah, well, we only employ people, so we don't have any contractors. So we've got just over 1,000 staff.
Wow.
Um, and obviously they're split between most of those staff are working with our clients um, that's across South Africa and the Philippines. So it certainly
Wow.
keeps us busy and on our toes.
Yeah.
But it gives us amazing insights into workforce construct and obviously through helping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients with that workforce re-engineering piece. And it's really around forming a really robust workforce strategy that can serve them not just today but tomorrow and into the future as well. And so that's a big part of we're able to sort of stand on the shoulders of others and experiences of people in various industries that we've helped. I mean, we get to know what works really, really well.
So we all know people, and with people comes problems, right? So
Yes.
that's like one in the same. So, how do you drive accountability in 1,000 employees over multiple businesses to make sure that those businesses and your business is getting what they want?
Yeah, it's a great question. And obviously I think, you know, to be candid, EOS for us has been game changing. And, we started running on EOS about 4 years ago, I think it would have been.
Okay.
Um, and for us, that has been transformational about helping get everyone on the same page. Because as you've highlighted, with clients across North America and APAC, you know, offices in South Africa, the Philippines, my co-founder and I being based in Australia, we are spread quite literally across a multitude of countries, time zones. And so keeping in sync and on the same page is so fundamental. And that is the bedrock for then, delivering on accountability.
Mhm.
And so that's been so, so, so valuable for us.
So you obviously run on EOS.
Mm,
So then, what kind of core values is your company kind of working around with what it is that you do at People Partners?
yeah. So we are passionate, resourceful, resilient, integrity, devoted, and excellence are our 6 core values. And I think, you know, all of those are very, very valuable and important to us. And I think for me, though, the one that's always stood out has been resourceful. We are often plugging in, you know, offshore and remote staff into to businesses that, might not have the most perfectly designed processes and systems in their business. And that staff member needs to be resourceful to be able to sometimes just pick up the pieces and you know what, we just need to figure this out. We just need to figure this out. And
Right.
so I think, that's such an important value. And it's an important part of our screening process for anyone we bring into the organization. Is there some foundation attributes and traits here that can be seen to be resourceful, because that's
Right.
the people we need to work in small to medium businesses. It's not an enterprise where the body of work is chunked down into these tiny little pieces of work. Often in small to medium, we're taking pretty broad roles. We're taking a pretty broad set of responsibilities that we're taking responsibility for, and so we need people who are resourceful, who can pick up the pieces and run with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hi there, this is Ken Paskins, the CEO of GCE Strategic Consulting. What's holding your company back? It's often blind spots in leadership, miscommunication, misaligned priorities, and untapped growth opportunities. GCE's 360 assessment provides crystal clear insights into your team's strengths and challenges. Then, one of our leaders will work with you to turn those insights into an action plan, ready to build a stronger, aligned team that can execute against your vision. Learn more about our 360 assessment today.
And so, in terms of the clients that you work with, are there any sort of, obviously S&B, but are there any sort of industries or niches that you tend to shine in versus others?
Yeah, it's a great question. And certainly when we started, we had a massive niche and still do in education, just because of some of our background. But probably over the last 5+ years, we're now servicing, I would pretty much say, all industries, from huge amount of financial services clients, construction, finance, all the way through to a great nuclear power company that we're working with at the moment. And so really spanning, all manner of industries, because ultimately what is the same when you look top down in a business, a lot of industries look the same. They've got a finance team, they've got a marketing team, they've got a sales team, they've got an operations team, and then finally they do have some technical expertise, whether that be accounting, law, whatever it might be. And so because we work right across the accountability chart, we're helping them with, workforce in their finance team, we're helping with workforce in their marketing team, we're helping with workforce in sales, workforce in operations, and right through to technical. So we're employing the technical roles, whether it be healthcare professionals, nurses, physios, whether it be in law, and we're helping them with lawyers and paralegals. So we're helping them with those really technical roles as well.
Gotcha. Okay. So are there any things impacting your industry right now? They can be positive or negative things that are impacting your particular industry.
Well, I think we're probably a microcosm of what's impacting the workforces around the world at the moment, and that's AI.
So you're the disruptor.
Well, whether we're the disruptor, but I think what we're seeing right now is AI is having this massive ability to level up offshore staff talent. So it's really helping them level up the value chain. So they're taking on higher order tasks, they're completing them faster, they're often communicating a lot more effectively. Now, how AI plays out long term, I wish I had that secret crystal ball.
Right.
Because obviously its impact on work more broadly is obviously the subject of a whole heap of contention right now, and I certainly don't have all the answers. But right now we're seeing a massive leveling up of offshore talent, just because they're able to use that as a tool and a weapon to do a lot more effectively and a lot faster.
Interesting. Okay. So as you've scaled your business, what challenges have personally taken you by surprise, and how have you handled them?
Oh, great question. I think part of our challenges has been in and around running across a lot of different cultures and a lot of different time zones. I think scaling amidst some of those challenges has been some of our little obstacles on the way. But I suppose for us, getting everyone on the same page. We run our quarterlies in person every quarter, so we pull our whole leadership team together, and so we believe massively in building and investing in culture to again bridge some of those divides and differences. So we're massively investing in our team building and cultural activities right across our staff cohorts, and in our leadership team, that's massive as well. So beyond our weekly L10s, which are clearly remotely, we pull together every quarter, which I think that's been really, really valuable for us over the years to make sure we're all in sync and cultivating really healthy and dynamic relationships together.
So are you using an implementer for your quarterlies, or are you self-implementing?
Self-implementing at the moment. We don't have an implementer who's flying around the world. In South Africa this quarter, Philippines next, Australia the next. We've certainly had some amazing help along the way. And our journey into EOS was probably punctuated by, I'm an EO member. I have been for Entrepreneurs Organization, have been for, I think 12, 13 years.
12 years, because I looked it up, because Ken's an EO member too.
Cool.
And I'm
yes.
an SLP.
Yes,
you guys have those too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I always get
and
they were crazy
actually,
terms, SLP and SAP. I always get them confused as well.
Yep. And actually, Ken is going to be running on the board, or Ken's doing a board position, and he just started. So he's up for MVP, like a newcomer award or something like that. So,
fantastic.
So, so far we found it to be great. Tell us about your, you've obviously been with them a long time. You see the value. I love talking to talking with CEOs about their experience with like CEO groups and what you get out of that. So why don't we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, sure. And as I said, it really was what gave rise to us running on EOS, which was, some of that piece. I think, when I remember back to starting in EO, I was a bit skeptical, to be honest. I was like, what do you mean I'm going to be put in a forum with these, 6 or 7 other random people from crazy other industries? How on earth can that add value to my business?
Right.
They're so different. And I remember sitting in my first forum and, people were going around the room and sharing their business. I'm like, this is ridiculous. What am I going to learn from these people? And then, it was so quick for the penny to drop. It's like, our challenges are the same. So many of them are the same, irrespective of business. And I think whilst a lot of people join EO, and I was the same, looking to seek, explicit business benefits, the benefits quickly creep into all areas of your life, and they inspire you personally. They've inspired me massively in my family life. And so I think it really challenges you to be a more rounded, better human, not just a better business person. So for me, it's been amazing, and I've been lucky to be involved in Australia, in EO, in the Philippines, and right now I'm a member of EO US Central Bridge chapter. And, so that's pulling together people from right across, the States and the world for that matter, and we come together quarterly for in-person chapter retreats. We've actually got our chapter retreat in Oaxaca in Mexico next week.
Nice.
Which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's great. I think Ken went to Hawaii a few weeks ago, actually.
For GLC.
Yep, GLC. So we got all the acronyms down, right?
We certainly do. And I think, to take a step back, so it was through EO that I heard of EOS. People were talking on it, running on it. I read the books, and then probably a decisive moment was had this collision point with a great implementer, Ryan Sharpley, based in Australia, and he was just so generous and so effusively living the values of help first. He's been instrumental in guiding and directing and helping us over the years.
So go ahead and give a shout out, because we love to recognize implementers. What was his name again?
Ryan Sharpley.
Ryan Sharpley. Thank you for your service, Ryan. We do appreciate the folks in this community that are, not just talking the talk, but they're walking the walk. And
definitely
love to give shout outs to implementers and integrators doing great work here on the podcast. So, okay, well, moving on. So where do you see yourself investing resources for growth over the next year?
So we're investing a lot in AI at the moment. So both internally within our own operations, and looking to see how we can help level up our clients as well, through improving the efficiency of their operations. Because whilst we're a workforce partner, we're fundamentally a weapon for them to get work done more efficiently. And at the moment, we're leveraging workforce to do that. But over time, we're anticipating more and more that will be, workforce plus AI working together to get that work done more efficiently. So it's just really a continuation of our mission in helping our clients level up and be more efficient and more profitable. And we'll continue that mission, but I think we'll start to infect more of our service delivery with AI and how we help our clients.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. I mean, it's all the rage, but it's so interesting how it can apply and every unique scenario, right? It's
100%.
it's
Yeah.
really cool, like, to watch some of the things that you can do with these prompts and how to turn things around and how fast it's moving. I mean,
Absolutely. And some of the massive deployments in our business have been pretty transformational already. And so that's
yeah,
why, we're really keen to make sure that we're helping level up our clients' businesses as well, through, standing on the shoulders of the experiences that we're having and the investing and investigating we're doing and the teams we're building in and around AI deployments to make
right.
sure that we can avail that to our clients to help them too.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so if you had to do it over, speaking to a younger self or a less experienced self, what would your advice be?
Ooh, it's a great question, Winter. Younger Reuben, baby Reuben, what would I share with him?
Little
I
baby Reuben.
Yeah, I think probably it would be to do with the importance of focus. I think there's a saying, and I'm sure you've heard it, that more entrepreneurs die of indigestion than starvation. And so
Mm,
I've certainly been guilty over the years of chasing some rabbits. And so I think, whether it's that, chasing that next wave, or you think I'll de-risk my business by having all these other businesses that can be high performing.
mm,
And then you see in the media these crazy entrepreneurs like Elon Musk doing it with 4, 5, six, however many businesses. It's got to be easy, right? But my experience at least has been it invariably becomes a pretty massive distraction and ends up diluting yourself and cutting yourself short of within your main business. And so I think, younger Ruben would get the little whisper in the ear of stay the course, stay focused. Don't chase the bright shiny lights too much.
yeah, I love that. It's so simple, but yet so true, right? And
Yeah,
I do think that the brain of an entrepreneur or CEO, it's literally like, sometimes, like, I have to tell Ken at the end of the day, like, can we just not go there? Because you're just running
yeah,
a bunch of directions. But if you can get that focus and stick with it, sometimes that's your best bet, as opposed to, you're right, a lot of entrepreneurs will say, well, let's de-risk it. Let's do this, and then we have less risk. But sometimes that
yeah.
isn't always the thing to do.
It opens up more risk because you're not focusing on your core business, and then that gets wobbly, and then oh my goodness, that gets scary.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so last question. If somebody listening wanted to take the next step with you, what should they do?
Yeah, certainly. Well, they can obviously check out our website, which is peoplepartnersbpo.com, to learn a bit more about us, what we get up to, and how we do it. But I also invite anyone listening to connect with me personally as well. LinkedIn's a great way to track me down. So if they just search my name, and yeah, I try to be pretty active on LinkedIn and sharing my journey of leading an organization and the scars, the bruises, the triumphs along the way. So LinkedIn's a great way to reach out and connect.
And we are going to be putting all your information when we post this, so everybody will have easy access.
Sounds awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Reuben. It was an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Winter. Have a wonderful day ahead.
You too.